Hi, Scott Olson.
Hello.
You're a little bit famous around here. You were a part of Occupy in San Francisco before you were involved in that business over in Oakland. I saw you on Democracy Now!
Really?
Yeah, you hit the big time.
I suppose.
Getting hit in the head with a gas canister. Wow. I read gas canister in a lot of places.
Yeah, that's
That
what I thought at first, but it was a beanbag round.
How are you doing now? You okay?
Sort of. I don't know. Sort of okay. Even though Bradley Manning today was acquitted of aiding the enemy, he's still looking at 136 years. The biggest charge didn't stick, but we still have to say free Bradley Manning, and we have to think about what we mean when we say that. We should talk about what it's going to take to free Bradley Manning, because the military justice system is not going to free him.
That's interesting, coming from a person who's been in the military. Why do you say they're not going to free him?
Because there is no military justice system. You can't find justice through the military justice system. The judge presiding over his case has already been promised a promotion, and that's typical in the military justice system. Or they're just random officers appointed by the battalion commander who are expected to convict.
Do you feel that the charges were unjust?
He was convicted of some charges under the Espionage Act, and that's not appropriate at all.
Why?
Because he wasn't spying. How can you be convicted as a spy if you're not aiding anybody? The judge found that he wasn't aiding the enemy, so he was spying on behalf of the American public, and that makes him a whistleblower. But the judge did not allow him to make that defense.
The whistleblower defense.
Right. Now that will come into play during the sentencing hearings. So it may lessen his sentence, but he's still guilty of being a spy.
What do you think of 136 years in jail?
He's not going to live that long.
Okay, what do you think about the justice of that? I mean, the fairness of a conviction that puts a verdict that puts him in jail for 136 years. You clearly think that's unjust.
Right. People who commit murder often don't get that. People who commit rape often don't get that much. There's no way that leaking documents can seal you up for the rest of your life. That is unjust. It hasn't been shown that he's hurt anybody.
How would you change this if you could?
I would free Bradley Manning. That's what I would do. I'd let him go.
If he did these acts, on what basis would you free him then?
Well, right now he's already been in prison for what about 3 years? He's been tortured, held in solitary confinement. For whatever crime he did commit, he's already paid his price.
Okay, you think that he's been punished enough? And
absolutely, more so than enough.
He should get out for time served. I think I hear you say that. Is there anything else you think the American people should know, or the public should know, about this whole thing? From a military person's perspective, from your heart?
Well, they're really making an example out of Bradley Manning, and they're setting a precedent for any other soldiers or military members in the future who maybe think about leaking documents. They're going to have to look at what happens to Bradley Manning and put themselves in his shoes, and they'll have to decide if it's important to them enough or not.
I really appreciate you talking to me and giving me some very intelligent answers.
Thank you.
Hey Scott, why did you feel compelled to come out here tonight and join the demonstrators?
Because while Bradley Manning's largest charge, aiding the enemy, he was acquitted of, he's still looking at up to 136 years in prison, and there was no way that is deserved. He hasn't hurt anybody, and he's been charged under the Espionage Act. So the judge label him as a spy, and he wasn't spying on behalf of anybody except for the American public.
Do you have any personal connections to this, of how you related to what he's going through and what you've been through yourself? Is there a self-connection to that?
There is. I was in the Marine Corps for 4.5 years. I went to Iraq twice, and some of the documents that he leaked were missions that my unit was on, that I was on. Nothing I was involved in that was a war crime. And I had access to those documents because I was a computer technician. So if I had seen the right documents, I could very well be in his place. And I know from being in the military that there's no such thing as a military justice system. The presiding officers, the judge or a board or the jury, they're officers appointed by the battalion commander, and they're expected to say yes. And that's what we've seen with Judge Lind. Is she's already been promised a promotion after this is completed.
So, your overall reaction to this, what are you feeling in your heart of hearts about this whole situation today, and what makes you so passionate about it?
Well, I think that even though Bradley Manning was not convicted of his largest charge, it's not time to stop saying free Bradley Manning, and this does set a precedent for any soldiers or service members in the future who may think about leaking documents that detail war crimes. They're going to have to think about, do I want to be in Bradley Manning's position right now? And I think some of them will say yes, but it's a lot to look at for them.
Anything else you want to add that I didn't touch base on that you want to put out there? See you. How you doing, by the way? You okay?
Okay. Goodbye.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Thank you.